My name is David, and today I am joined by my fellow Xfinity editors, Kayla, Audrey, and don't call it a comeback. He's been here for years. It's Gordon. Hello, everyone. How are we all doing? No.
Is that an age joke, David?
It was just a music joke. I wouldn't start off with an age joke so early into the show.
You got to build to that.
I'm building to it.
We're off to a great start, guys.
Thanks, David.
Yeah. So before we get started, make sure you grab your Xfinity voice remote to participate in our live poll later in the show. Remember that you can vote once or as many times as you like, and your vote is counted when your selection changes colors. So without further ado, we have so much to get to today, so let's kick things off with In the News. Last week, the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences announced the nominees for the 37th, that's not right, 73rd Primetime Emmy Awards. This year's most nominated show is the Apple TV Plus comedy Ted Lasso, which earned 13 nominations, followed by Netflix's The Crown and Hulu's The Handmaid's Tale with 11 nominations, Disney Plus's Hamilton and WandaVision with 8 nominations, and HBO's Mare of Easttown, which earned 7 nominations. And now I'll open it up to our panel of experts for a look at some of the nominees we're most excited for, as well as some of this year's most baffling snubs. And I will kick things off with my most exciting nominee, Elizabeth Olsen, who was nominated for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Limited Series for her performance in WandaVision. Now, you don't typically think of superhero shows or movies as being a showcase for incredible performances, but Elizabeth Olsen was really, really stunning. Not only did she portray Wanda Maximoff, who we know and love from the Avengers films, but she essentially had to play 6 additional versions of that character, channeling sitcom tropes of the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. It would have been easier just to say 50s to the 2000s, but oh well. We already knew Elizabeth was capable of this greatness based on films like Martha, Marcy May, Marlene, and Wind River, but it's great to see she's finally getting the awards attention she deserves. And my biggest snub is Anthony Starr, who plays the super-powered a-hole known as Homelander in Prime Video's The Boys. Now, if you've joined us here on What to Watch Live, you've almost certainly heard us talk about our love for The Boys. Audrey loves it. Scott loves it as well. And the series, and Gordon loves it as well. And it mostly tells the story of superheroes behaving badly. And there's no hero worse, more smug, more hateable than Homelander. And Anthony Starr plays him to perfection. He really is one of the best villains in any medium today. And after last season's uncomfortable obsession with milk, I think he really deserved a nomination. Can I say? Before we move on, any thoughts on these two from the panel?
Go ahead,
as far as
yeah,
sure thing. No, the Elizabeth Olsen thing. Like, boy, it really clicks when you watch her play these different eras, especially when they got to the 2000s and it was kind of a Malcolm in the Middle-esque performance, which was so different than what we'd seen from Wanda before. That was the moment where I kind of realized that we were witnessing something really special with her performance in that show. So absolutely on board with that one. And I love some Homelander. I love The Boys. So David, I think you have 2 really solid picks there.
Thank you.
I agree.
Yeah.
We'll get to mine. Mine are also, yeah. And Homelander, there's no one you love to hate more than Homelander. He's just such a crazy character and, yeah, played so well.
Nobody does an evil smile quite like when he smiles, you're like, oh, he's smiling, but he's not happy. You're just waiting for him to snap.
He's trying to, he's like, is this what you do when you're happy? Is that a smile? It's
wait, I want that
initiating human smile.
Yeah.
I want that as a GIF. I want that as an Audrey GIF. Is this what you do when you're happy? All right. Kayla, tell us about your favorite nominee and the biggest snub.
Yes. Okay. So my favorite nominee has got to be Cynthia Erivo, who portrayed Aretha Franklin in Genius Aretha. And she really embodied this role. And one of the things that really impressed me or just blew me away was the fact that she was singing the whole time. This is her voice you're hearing. And it's insane how amazing of a singer she is and how she was able to sing all of those songs like Aretha did. So she is definitely my favorite. Such a great limited series. And I got a chance to talk to the creator of the show too in one of my hangouts. So that was a fun one. And my biggest snub is Beyonce's Black is King. I'm just surprised that it didn't get any like creative nominations for like hair or fashion directing or wherever, all those other behind the scenes awards, especially since she got, I think, like 6 Emmy nominations for her Homecoming film on Netflix. So I'm just surprised that Black is King didn't get anything. It was so artistic and amazing, and it's Queen Bee. Not that she needs the validation of an Emmy nomination, but I mean, it would have been nice to see that somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I'll agree with you on Aretha. Obviously, Aretha herself is just like this once in a lifetime talent and performer, and just this massive personality and entity who's so important to music. It's just amazing that they could get anyone who can even embody like a fraction of that. And Cynthia is such a force herself that she really played the role kind of to perfection. I after watching her, I can't imagine anyone else doing that.
Nope.
Something really, I've kind of been on a Aretha kick lately, and something super embarrassing is I've gone my entire life thinking the lyric was R-E-S-P-E-C-T, find out what it means to me, R-E-S-P-E-C-T, take out T-C-P. So my whole life, I thought in the word respect that she had just spelled out, you were supposed to take out the T, the C, and the P, which leaves you with like R-E-S-E, like Reese? Is it code? What are you trying to tell us, Aretha? But those are the lyrics. I just found out, and I felt extremely dumb. And I'm glad to share that with you, America.
What is the lyric? I have no idea what that lyric is, Gordon.
It's TCB, which I assume meant taking care of business, which was, like an Elvis thing. I don't know, but it's definitely not take out TCP. So, so you guys felt the same thing. No, you thought she was trying to get us a code. She wasn't.
Yeah.
No,
I just always mumble.
Right, like
take care, beep.
Nope.
Ow! Talk it to me.
Talk it to me. What is that?
Oh my god.
Well,
so good.
Gordon, what's your pick for your favorite nominee and snub?
Okay, so I'm always late to the TV party, being the gaming editor. So, but we've recently started watching Hacks, which is a comedy, a dramedy on HBO Plus, starring Jean Smart, where she basically plays Joan Rivers, an aging comedian who has a troublesome relationship with her daughter. She sells things on QVC, and she ends up partnering with a millennial writer, and they butt heads. And it is the best thing I've seen all year, like easily. I know, Audrey, you were a big fan of this as well. And this got like a ton of nominations. Jean Smart, Hannah Einbender, Carl Clemens Hopkins, sound mixing. They got the big sound mixing Emmy nod. It's absolutely worth your time. Jean Smart is just fantastic in it. And it does a great job of, normally when there's a clash between generations, you're supposed to side with one side or the other. They're both right. They're both wrong. It's hilarious. It'll make you think. It's really heartfelt. Easily my pick for the best thing I've seen all year out of TV. And my snub originally was going to be Holy Moly, because the reality competition category is so odd to me that, I love The Amazing Race. I don't know why it needs to get nominated every year because it's based on the same show. But Holy Moly got me through COVID times because that show just cracks me up. But I went with Pedro Pascal in The Mandalorian because they say that 90% of acting is done through your eyes. He's wearing a mask 99% of the time. His voice, his body movements, the fact that 99% of the time he's interacting with a puppet or a CG creation, and the feelings he makes you feel. I don't want to spoil the end of season 2 because everybody should go watch season 2, but like he just rips your heart out with this relationship he has with basically a doll. So just from an acting standpoint, like the degree of difficulty on that was a solid 10, and he just knocked it out of the park. So he is my pick for Emmy snub.
There are moments where he's just standing there and he's just looking and he doesn't move. He doesn't do anything. And I go,
spectacular. It's just such a phenomenal performance. And like I said, having that mask on makes it 10 times harder, and he just kills it.
He's amazing.
I have to check it out, but I have seen Hacks. I just finished actually, and it is so stellar. I love
stellar.
Yeah, and Jean Smart's really
amazing.
having like quite a year with Mayor of Easttown too. Like 2 amazing roles, so different.
She was great in that too.
Yeah,
we're in the midst of a Jean Smart renaissance.
we are.
Well, I really hope, like, I've known, because I've been a long time Frasier fan, and I've known Jean Smart without really knowing Jean Smart from this role that she had as Frasier's high school crush, who comes back. I think her name was like Laura Lanley or something, and she comes back, and like Frasier remembers being so enamored with her in high school, and now she's like this total train wreck, loud and like obnoxious, everything that like Frasier fears the most. And she's excellent in that too. So, I mean, I think people don't realize that she's been doing amazing work for so long, but now finally she's getting the recognition for it.
Deep cut, David.
That was Frasier.
Thanks. Check it out on Peacock right now.
And she was in Sweet Home Alabama. We all love that.
Yeah, of course.
That's always on TV, by the way. Sweet Home Alabama is always on TV, in case you're wondering. If you want to find it, it's on right now.
Just say Sweet Home Alabama into your voice remote.
That's right.
Audrey, tell us about your favorite nominee and your biggest snub.
So my favorite nominee is The Boys, which we've already talked about, for Best Drama Series. And they actually have been nominated, I think, for 5 Emmys, which is all deserving. And I hope they win all of them because it's so good. And I don't know what exactly I love about it, because there's like a fine line for me with like superhero stuff and like violent stuff. But I think it's a combination of like the funny with the gory and the crazy. But just so happy that they won. And obviously we're all fans. And then my snub is Girls 5 Eva from Peacock, which is so hilarious. And it's a Peacock original. It was brand new this year. And the songs alone, they did get a nomination. Man, I'm like so upset over this. They did get a nomination for writing, which they deserve, but should have got a nomination for comedy too, because it's just so good and so different. And Tina Fey is backing it. The songs are amazing. Everyone knows I love Busy Phillips. So I think that was really a miss. It was a really fun, easy like watch in a time where we needed something like light and fun. So that is my biggest snub. And I know David watched some of that too.
I did. It's excellent. And I will just say, to your point about The Boys and the violence, like there's a difference between like realistic violence and then kind of over the top violence where like someone is exploded and they're left there just holding their hands and the rest of them is exploded. It's such like outrageous violence that you kind of don't get affected by it the same way.
You're right. That probably is what it is.
Is it kind of like the Umbrella Academy, or is it
there are a lot of similarities between like that and Watchmen, and like The Watch, which was just recently on BBC America. So it's like, superheroes, like unconventional superheroes, are also having a moment. Jean Smart she was in an unconventional superhero show called Legion on FX with Dan Stevens, which was actually pretty good. And that was like what really kicked her off. I can't even believe I just put all that together.
Deep cut, David.
Wow, good for you. Good for you.
Television encyclopedia.
All right. Well, catch up on all the TV series and stars nominated for the 2021 Emmy Awards by saying Emmy nominees or Emmy nominations into your voice remote. And let us move on to a segment we call Does It Hold Up? I recently curated a collection of the 25 best animated series for adults featuring cartoons that aren't quite suitable for children, such as Prime Video's Invincible, Netflix's Big Mouth, Hulu's Solar Opposites, Adult Swim's Rick and Morty, and of course, Beavis and Butthead, which you can watch now on Paramount+. My collection also includes a curation of cartoons adults loved as children, featuring some of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s throwbacks we love. So today we decided to look back on some of those shows and ask, does it hold up? And I'm going to kick it off with one of my favorite shows from childhood, and that is the 1992 action series X-Men, which ran for 5 seasons and 76 episodes from 1992 to 1997. X-Men was a part of a golden era for the Fox network on Saturday mornings, which also included Batman the Animated Series, Bobby's World, Goosebumps, The Tick, Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego, and of course, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And whereas most kids were likely interested in the X-Men because of the comic books, it was actually this TV show that made me interested in comic books and the superhero genre at large. Everything about this show was great. The action, the voice performances, the storylines, which even included the Dark Phoenix saga, and also the overall characterization of these iconic heroes was just spot on. And Wolverine is obviously awesome, but I was particularly obsessed with Gambit and used to jump around my bedroom, chucking playing cards, imitating his signature attack. I had no idea you were going to react like that, Audrey.
I loved Gambit. Carry on.
I'm almost done. And every episode of X-Men is available on Disney+, so check it out. Audrey, Gambit?
I don't know why. My brother had all of the action figures and they were all just like, oh, whatever. You have like sword fingers and you have this. But like Gambit's cards were just so cool to me. And I don't know. I don't know why I liked him so much, but Gambit was my jam. I'm very excited to draw him up.
Kayla, should we pretend to like Gambit as well?
Yeah, let's just smile and nod.
I loved Gambit. He threw cards, apparently. Loved it.
No, his power was that he could supercharge any item that he touched. So he carried spot on.
He's like,
yeah, he could power up cards and toss them, and he also had like a staff that he would also power up. But I would just had this.
Why
pack
would you need
of
a staff
cards.
if you had cards?
Exactly.
He was awesome, and he had this Cajun accent, and he also always used to say "mon ami," like to or "mon ami, hello, cher." Like he was really into Rogue was like his girlfriend character in the show, but then they like made her Anna Paquin and younger for the movies. But yeah, he was.
But
he
didn't
was awesome.
he have like he had like a traditional superhero kind of like spandex outfit, but then he had like a trench coat over it? Is that accurate? Yes.
Yeah, and he had a mask, like he had a headband, but it only went like here and over to the sides, which doesn't protect any part of your face. Like you're just out there. He had a cool hair. He had cool. I actually kind of like hair. Yes, Gordon.
If your weapon is a deck of cards, what do you do when that 53rd villain comes along?
Yeah.
I think he has multiple decks stashed in his pocket.
That's why it's so convenient, because they're flat, they're portable, like you just pop them in your pockets. He could also just he used to just grab anything, power it up, and toss it. The cards were just throwable.
Yeah.
You also have the instruction card, Gordon, so you can just toss that too.
There's 53, a Joker, there's 54.
And two, is there 2 Jokers or 1 Joker?
Yep. Yep.
No.
Just in case you needed to finish one off, you know. All right, Kayla, tell us about your favorite show from childhood.
My favorite show is Hey Arnold, guys. I loved Hey Arnold. I love Nickelodeon, period. But something about Hey Arnold, I love that show so much. I feel like, and I recently, maybe not too recently, but I rewatched it maybe like 3 years ago, because it was on one of those streaming platforms. And I was like, this makes sense as an adult too. It makes sense. The lessons are still there. You know, all of the life lessons, all of the strange things I didn't realize when I was a kid. And I was like, well, that's kind of strange. But I just love this show. It actually just turned 25. So it came out July 1996. So it's just hit its anniversary. So it's very timely. And I love this show.
And it had a great theme song too.
Great theme song. Yep. Fell in love with jazz from that minute on in the 4th grade.
Wow.
I don't know his last name, but it's okay. His first name is what's important. So
I never really watched Hey Arnold, but I know so much about it. Like honestly, like I was not a regular watcher, but I know like I know Helga Pataki, I know Stoop Kid, I know obviously Arnold. Like I know like bits. I know that there was like an art. I think Helga had an Arnold shrine made out of like a watermelon. Like Like, it's crazy. I know these things about the show, but didn't watch it.
Yeah, it's so weird. And that's one of the things that as an adult, I was like, oh, that's kind of strange, actually. It's like, maybe she needs some therapy because that wasn't healthy, but.
Helga was a proper stalker. Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
All right. Gordon, you want to hit us with your cartoon of choice from childhood?
I'd love to. So maybe not necessarily childhood, but young adulthood. I went with South Park. And, that if the question is, does it hold up? I think this is interesting because it's been on the air so long that I think the creators' attitudes has changed over the years. If you go back and watch really early South Park, it's interesting because obviously the animation is much more crude. Obviously with the way computers are now, they're able to do it, much better. But the comedy is much more crude, which is weird because South Park has always been going out there with all the, the crazy storylines and stuff like that. And they don't shy away from controversy. But the early ones, I think of like when you're younger and your sense of humor is more random and more like, a curse word being a punchline or something gross or disgusting being a punchline. South Park kind of seemed to lean on that a lot back in the day. But now, if you watch more recent episodes, it's like the inappropriateness and the crudeness is still there, but it does seem like Trey Parker, Matt Stone, the show has aged as they have aged, and I think the jokes I think it's gotten better with age, like a fine wine, if you would. So does it hold up? The old ones, maybe not so much. But the ones today, I think, are doing pretty well. And they play it basically on a loop on Comedy Central. So if you're ever looking for Sweet Home Alabama or South Park, it's on right now. Stick with this show. Wait till we're done, and then go find them with your Xfinity voice.
I don't know what it says about me that I prefer the crude humor of the earlier episodes, but
I think I know what it says about you, David. I think I know exactly what it says about you.
Not anything that people didn't already know. But I remember. So my parents both worked in the restaurant business growing up, so they always worked Fridays and Saturday nights. So we were always left to our own devices at home, sort of babysitting ourselves, watching whatever we wanted. And one of their biggest nights of the year was New Year's Eve. And I remember South Park had a big New Year's Eve event one year, like a marathon on Comedy Central. And my sister and I, it was the first time we ever watched it, clearly too young to be watching it. And I remember my stepfather coming home and he said, "Is this that show with those foul-mouthed kids?" And we were like, "Yep." And that was it. And he didn't say anything else. And that was like my first memory of South Park.
That was a very accurate description.
Yeah, he was spot on.
I always got kicked out of the room, so I didn't even get a chance to see it. My brother would be like, "Get out," and I'd be like, "Oh, okay, well, I guess I'll just go upstairs and do something else."
Watch Hey Arnold.
You can just turn your TV on and watch it now.
As a little sister, it was your responsibility to be more of a pain in the backside, and you should have been like, "I should have been right here."
I should have. I really should have.
You missed out on so much crude humor.
I know. See, I'll catch up.
Yeah. Audrey, tell us about your favorite cartoon from childhood.
Yeah, so mine's a bit more wholesome than South Park. It is Captain Planet and the Planeteers. And it ran for 5 seasons starting in 1990, and you can watch it now on Amazon Prime. But if you don't know, and you should, but if you don't know, basically the whole plot was Captain Planet and the Planeteers were, teaching everyone about environmentalism and how to save the world from things like deforestation and global warming and to be a good citizen of the world. So that people of the future could enjoy it. So thinking about that, like, that's 1990. That's like, a decent while ago. And I think it holds up because we still need that lesson. Because we're still not doing a great job.
Now that the climate crisis is over, does that show even make sense anymore?
Yeah. I think they need to be teaching our kids about how to save the world still. But it was interesting. Like, it was kind of ahead of their time, right? Like, if you think about it, all of the Planeteers were from like different continents. It was like a very diverse show, which was awesome. And it also had a star-studded cast. And I had to write down some of these names because some of them I know by heart just from loving the show as a kid, but I wanted to make sure I got them all because both the talent is impressive and their character names are also amazing. So let's see, real quick. Dr. Blight was played by Meg Ryan. Venomous Scum, with 2 M's, was played by Jeff Goldblum, which, like, what a good voice to be Venomous Scum. Tim Curry was a talking computer named Mal. Ed Asner was an oil baron named Hoggish Greedley. Yep. Martin Sheen played Sly Sludge. Sting, the musician, was an evil spirit named Zarm. And then on the good side, the Planeteers, Gaia, the spirit of the earth, was Whoopi Goldberg. And Kwame, who, the only other Kwame I know, besides our Kwame of Xfinity fame, Kwame was played by LeVar Burton. Which, like, what a cast of people teaching, the youth about the world.
Now, Audrey, you said you knew those names by heart, but did you also know them by earth, wind, fire, and water?
Oh, yes. That's
see what I did there?
Amazing tie back to the ring.
And you forgot to mention that show had a rocking theme song.
It did.
Would you care to perform it?
I would bet money David knows the words.
I can't think of how. I can't
Planet,
think. Oh yeah, he's a hero. Gonna take down to zero.
That's all I know.
He's powers magnified, and he's fighting on the planet side.
Yes.
I love it.
Oh, and the only other thing that I did come across that I didn't know as a kid that I wanted to mention, that Tom Cruise was originally supposed to be Captain Planet. And he filmed or recorded like 6 episodes and then backed out for reasons still unknown. But
because
that would have been also
right.
I mean,
he hates the environment, right. Tom Cruise.
Well, that was one of those shows we used to imitate on the playground, and everyone was like earth, fire, wind, water, heart. Like no one really wanted to be heart because it wasn't cool. Like, let me just call this animal over. They'll take care of it. Like. Which is actually pretty cool, but when you can control all those other elements and then it's like, let me call a squirrel over, it's not quite as entertaining.
But he could communicate to animals.
That's much cooler than throwing a deck of cards at somebody, okay? So that's...
No.
Is that what you're saying?
No, it isn't.
Bite your tongue. Bite your tongue.
Full circle. We did it, guys. Good job.
All right. Well, I think it's safe to say all 4, still hold up. And you can check those out, as well as my full list of 25 best cartoon series for adults by saying best cartoons for adults into your voice remote. So let's move on now and check in on Summer Free Preview. We are smack dab in the middle of Xfinity's Summer Free Preview, which features weekly free previews of hit networks like Up, Faith and Family, A&E Crime Central, Epix, Great Courses, and more. And starting right now, today, you can enjoy hundreds of Lifetime movies from Lifetime Movie Club for free. Everything from sizzling romances and chilling thrillers to outrageous stories ripped from the headlines. And look, we all love a Lifetime movie, particularly the 4 editors you see on your screen right now, or will see momentarily. So we decided to play a little game. Each one of us dug through the Lifetime Movie Club vault and picked a movie. We will read a description of that movie as seen on the Xfinity channel guide, and the rest of us will have to guess the correct name of that movie. So it is also time for everyone at home to grab their voice remotes and play along, guessing the correct title alongside each of us. And you know what? I'm going to go first. So the log line for my movie is: a couple face repeated warnings from a real estate agent that their lives are in grave danger. And the options are Buyer Beware, A Deed to Die For, The Alarming Listing, or Ruthless Realtor.
Ugh,
and go.
All so good.
This is hard.
I'm torn between Buyer Beware and A Deed to Die For.
Me
Buyer
too.
Beware is chef's kiss. It is so good. If it's not Buyer Beware, and it might not be, I'm going to be upset. Like, love it. I love Buyer Beware.
I'm going to Deed to Die For.
Yeah, we're going with the same thing. Yeah.
It's worth noting that each one of us also wrote the fake titles for the movies. So, we
David's
really
trying to
flexed
trick
our
us.
creative
Hold on.
muscles here.
Yeah. Because the thing is, like, the titles are good, but they're not, like, there's a level they don't go above. And Buyer Beware might be too good. That might be David flexing some big brain, his big brains with his cleverness. So
right now, Buyer Beware is in the lead with 48%, followed by A Deed to Die For.
I'm sticking with A Deed to Die For.
Me
no
too.
love for The Alarming Listing or Ruthless Realtor. I'm sticking with Buyer
Watch
Beware.
it be Ruthless Realtor. I'm going with A Deed to Die For.
And the answer is, drum roll, Ruthless Realtor.
No. No. Really?
Yeah.
I just said watch it be Ruthless Realtor.
And you were right.
Buyer Beware.
You know what? If all this doesn't work out, I'm going to start writing movie titles for Lifetime movies.
How fun would that be, though? That's like writing the name for like nail polish and like lipstick. So fun.
Yeah.
Look,
yeah.
David, I think two of David's 3 fake ones are better than the real one. I'm not going to give you The Alarming Listing. That one, The Alarming Listing.
It's so good.
But you've got a gift, David. You clearly have a gift.
Thanks. So, Kayla, tell us which movie you picked.
Okay. Nice try. I almost said the title, David. Nice try. Okay. So my pick was anyway. Okay. So the description for my Lifetime movie is: a woman and her daughter hatch a devious scheme to get rid of a new rival at a cheerleading camp. And their options are death by a cheerleader, cheer camp killer, the cheerleader's revenge, and deadly cheer camp. That was a lot of cheers.
Cheer camp killer. Cheer camp killer. Cheer camp killer.
I'm leaning towards Cheer Camp Killer just because of the alliteration.
My thing is the cheerleader's revenge. It doesn't sound like a revenge story. It sounds like the woman and the daughter are doing all the deviousness. So Cheer Camp Killer it's got that alliteration. So I think I'll go with that as well. B.
So
what are the people saying?
Yeah, what are the people saying, David?
Yeah. What is everybody saying?
Cheer Camp Killer is in the lead, followed by Deadly Cheer Camp. Cheer Camp Killer is pulling way ahead. Death by Cheerleader is at the end. So is the consensus Cheer Camp Killer?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Sounds like
Kayla?
Drum roll and count down for me, baby.
Yes.
Cheer Camp Killer.
Is that what it was?
So I'm not as good a writer as David is.
No, that's great.
It's just a really good title already.
It is.
Like,
it is.
Cheer Camp Killer is really just a good title.
It is a good title. And now I have to watch it. It's pretty recent too. I think it came out last year. So
Gordon, it's your time to shine. What is the log line for the movie you chose?
Okay. A troubled teen sentenced to house arrest becomes attracted to her seemingly harmless neighbor. Is this movie The Wrong Boy Next Door, Next Door Slaver, Knock Knock, Who's Scare, or Can I Borrow a Cup of Death?
Oh my God. They're all so good.
Can I borrow a cup of death? I 100% know what this is.
It has to be The Wrong Boy Next Door, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it shouldn't be. Go ahead.
I only know this because Lifetime has a series of movies called The Wrong Blank. So it's the wrong husband, the wrong girlfriend, the wrong doctor. So I do believe that it is The Wrong Boy Next Door.
Kayla, what do you think?
But too. I'm thinking that too. But it seems too easy.
That's what's in the lead so far. So The Wrong Boy Next Door is in the lead, followed by Knock Knock, Who's Scare.
Knock Knock, Who's Scare is my favorite. And just like you said that David should have a job writing these descriptions or these titles, I think Gordon also has found a calling.
If this Xfinity thing doesn't work out, I'm knocking on their door. Knock Knock, Who's Scare?
We're going to be the greatest movie title writer duo.
Just
what is the answer?
Like a desk with like crumpled up paper and like, no, come on. She killed someone at a Dairy Queen. It's got to be Scary Queen. All right, so guys, the right answer is The Wrong Boy Next Door. David, thank you for ruining all the fun.
Sorry. A blizzard to die for. What else for Dairy Queen?
Oh, yes. Yeah, look at that tea art. Steamy.
Peanut butter parsley.
Right?
I gotta think of something else.
Give it up. We're done.
Something about custardy. I don't know.
We're custardy. We're about to get sued by Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
Cut by the custard.
Dairy Queen does not condone the use of Dairy Queen products in the act of murder.
All right, Audrey, bring us home with your movie logline.
Okay. An overworked bakery owner meets a handsome soldier who may actually be a living nutcracker. I know, you're intrigued. Okay,
I love these
our options. Yeah, they're so good. Our options are A Very Nutty Christmas, In Need of Love, Love is Better at Christmas, or Nothing Bunt Romance.
Audrey, you sold yourself short because these are really good. Nothing Bunt Romance and In the Need of Love.
Bunt.
I like In the Need of Love.
And then it's too good, though. It's too good.
Love is Better at Christmas. Oh, my God.
I'm thinking nutty, because Love is Better at Christmas doesn't have anything to do with a nutcracker or baking.
True.
If it was Love is Batter at Christmas, then it would be.
It's supposed to be Love It's Batter, and I messed up, guys. My greatest embarrassment.
It's correct on our screen. It says Love is Better
I like
at
A Very
Christmas.
Nutty Christmas.
Okay.
A Very Nutty Christmas. Yeah.
A Very Nutty Christmas is in the lead, followed by In Need of Love, followed by Love is Batter at Christmas. Nothing Bunt Romance deserves so much better than it's getting.
I had so much fun with this. Could we do this every week?
Yeah, I'm totally down. Audrey, what is the correct title?
The correct answer is A Very Nutty Christmas.
And
oh my God, that's so creepy. What, this is a nutcracker that just came to life and is now haunting this woman? Like,
no, they're hitting it off romance style.
And now I gotta watch this thing to find out if this dude's really a living nutcracker.
You do.
What have you done to us? It's not.
You do. Yep.
If she ever wants him to stay quiet, she just has to put a rubber band around his midsection. Get it? It's because
as you do.
It's holding the lever down so his mouth can't open.
No, I get it.
It's just a little bit of nutcracker humor for you.
little. So Dairy Queen.
Oh wow.
Oh, this was so good.
You people are so nice to watch us every week, and then we do this. I'm so sorry.
A Dairy Nutty Christmas.
A Dairy Nutty Christmas. Oh, that's the sequel. I think we're done. The Lifetime Movie Club free preview runs today through July 26th. Just say Lifetime Movie Club into your voice remote, and you can stay up to date on all of our upcoming previews by saying Summer Free Preview. Let us move on to what we're watching. Netflix recently released season 3 of its inexplicably popular drama series, Virgin River. And while I don't quite get the appeal, it just happens to be one of Audrey's favorite shows. Audrey, what is the deal with Virgin River?
Okay, guys, I feel like we've talked about this before, but I'm happy to talk about it again. So the description is basically like a nurse practitioner is seeking a fresh start, and she leaves LA to like remote, northern, inexplicable California, somewhere beautiful. And, you know, all amazingness ensues. But the thing that I wanted to talk about with Virgin River is that I noticed something really interesting with this show. And it's that every episode ends with a cliffhanger. And in like most TV shows, it's the season finale. leaves you like wanting more, so you come back. This is like literally every episode. Either there's like a house exploding, there's a baby dropped on a doorstep, there's a terminal like illness diagnosis, there's, you know, gunshots in a bar, alcoholism, night terrors. Like every single episode ends with something that you're like, oh my God, what? And it is effective because it leads you to keep watching more. So I just wanted to, you know, let everyone know that if you need some stress in your life, you should be watching Virgin River because it's great. It's like very wholesome. It has like a Gilmore Girls kind of like vibe in that it's like, you know, nice and not too crazy, but they do throw in like, you know, a little gun violence every once in a while, or, you know, something to keep you on your toes. But it's just really, really something. So that leads us to TV cliffhangers. And we just wanted to talk a little bit more about those. So who wants to go next?
Who was starting? Was it who was starting this segment? Was it? I feel like I'm
next. Yeah. Okay, so first of all, I've seen the first 20 minutes of Virgin River season 1, episode 1, so I'm getting there. Okay, I'm getting to the end of my first cliffhanger. So,
well, Kayla, just so you know, there is an episode where somebody drops a baby on a doorstep. Apparently, that's something that happens in this show. Just drops it right on the doorstep.
Oh, it's that kind of show. Okay.
That's what I was like. They drop a baby on the doorstep. They don't place it gently.
I wish I had doorbell ring just now. That would have been hilarious. Okay. All right. So my pick for cliffhangers is Cruel Summer. Guys, first of all, I love thrillers. I love mystery. I love 90s stuff. So this is all three of those things. And the season finale was maybe a few weeks ago. But it was just so memorable. And the series is basically about, you know, it's told over 3 summers in the 90s, and a girl goes missing and another girl mysteriously kind of takes over her life. And so it's going through like 1990, 90, 91, and 2 or something like that. I don't know. But each episode uncovers a clue about what really happened to the girl who disappeared. And you get to go back in the past and trying to piece the clues together. And I love shows like this because at the end of each episode, you get just a little nugget, and then it's over. And you have to tune in the next week to see what it's about. So it's like the whole time you're just trying to figure out what happened. So I think these are some of the best cliffhangers. At the end of season 1, my theory was correct. I'm not going to say my theory because I don't want to ruin it, but it was correct. But it also, there's more to the story, and now I have to wait another year to see what happened. So,
David and I both watched and loved Cruel Summer as well. It was so good. And then as a 90s like kid, the music was so good. But that's just a small part of the show. But yes, it was excellent.
So good.
Yeah, that's one of those like, I think so. That's just a really great summer show, as the title would suggest. So if you haven't seen it, like it's worth your time for sure.
I feel like I should have made 3 other titles. Unlike kind of similar to Cruel Summer, we can guess what the title was. So you could guess. That sounds like a Lifetime Movie Network movie.
They'd all be Bananarama songs. So Gordon, what is your most memorable cliffhanger?
I went really obscure with mine, so I'll have a lot of explaining to do. It's a little show called The Office, which was an office comedy that used to be on NBC. And basically, they were really good at their cliffhangers. I was a big PB&J guy, Pam Beasley and Jim. Will they, won't they ever get together? And I was actually talking to David about this earlier today, and he wanted to know if my cliffhanger was he might have picked a better one than I had, which was at the end of Casino Night when Pam and Jim finally kiss, and then who knows what's going to happen. But I went with a little happier of a cliffhanger. The following season, Pam has ended her engagement. Jim is now dating somebody else. He goes off to New York to try to get a new job. And Pam's explaining why she's happy for him and why she, wishes the best for his future. And then you find out he bailed on the job interview. He comes back, asks her out to dinner, and she says yes. And probably the only cliffhanger that had me jumping out of my chair and dancing around my living room. So in that instance, for those two, it was nothing but romance. They were clearly both in the need of love, and love is better in The Office.
Yes.
Wonderful.
I love The Office.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good one.
Yeah, I'm not exaggerating.
Cliffhangers
I was just so happy that they'd finally pulled the trigger on that one, and those two were getting together.
And Jenna Fisher plays it so well because he says it's a date, and it cuts back to her, and she has like the watery eyes, like her joy in that moment. Like you felt that. And I think honestly, like The Office is one of those shows where when the will they won't they Sam and Diane couple finally got together, it didn't get worse. It got worse for other reasons, but not because they got together.
Well, and they like every time, like, a good example is Friends, is Ross and Rachel. They kept bringing them back together. With Pam and Jim, they kept doing things that made you think they were going to break them up. Like Jim bought a house without telling her, or Pam went to New York and met a guy that she was friends with. All these things that should have torn them apart in a traditional sitcom didn't have that effect because their relationship was that strong, which I always liked. Because if they broke them up, I would have cried for the rest of my life.
That no good cameraman or boom operator.
Don't get me started.
Yeah.
What a
I don't watch those episodes, just like I don't watch when they try to get Joey and Rachel together on Friends. Won't watch them.
Yes,
they don't exist in my canon. Those episodes don't exist.
I don't watch them either. All right, my cliffhanger episode. So during The Simpsons' sixth season in 1994 and 1995, the show was at the height of its popularity, netting anywhere from 11 to 22 million viewers per episode. For comparison, just over 19 million viewers watched the Game of Thrones series finale. So the Treehouse of Horror episode in 94 did more viewers than that. And so on May 21st, 1995, at the end of the season 6 finale, The Simpsons appeared to kill off one of its main characters when an unknown assailant shot lovable power plant owner C. Montgomery Burns for trying to block the sun from shining on Springfield. Now, everyone was a suspect. Homer, Bart, Lisa, Smithers, Skinner, Moe, Barney, Grandpa, Groundskeeper Willie, Lunch Lady Doris, Tito Puente. Fox even ran a contest over the summer of 1995 where you could write in and guess the shooter for a chance to be animated into a Simpsons episode. So we waited 4 long months to find out who shot Mr. Burns, and in the end, it was the Simpsons' iconic toddler, Maggie Simpson, who shot the billionaire when his own gun slipped from his pocket during a struggle for Maggie's lollipop. The gun went off, striking Mr. Burns, and as he fell onto the sundial, he pointed to the symbols for west and south, which from his point of view looked like a M and an S, the initials for Maggie Simpson. Wow. And that was Who Shot Mr. Burns.
Wow.
Quite the synopsis.
Wow. That was an amazing synopsis.
You cannot.
I was actually I was gonna guess that, the toddler. Of course.
Of course it was.
David, you cannot compare the ratings from a primetime show in the 90s to a premium show from the 2010s. There was like one network back in the 90s. People had nothing else to watch. It was the only show on.
No.
Well, I mean, like, The Simpsons now is doing barely like 1 million viewers per episode, even for the Treehouse of Horror episode. So it's there's more TV. There's more TV to watch.
Video games, social media, the internet, rocket ships.
But imagining more people tuning in for an episode of The Simpsons than they did Game of Thrones. Yeah.
No, it is amazing. But it's not that like it's like there's just too much these days. Do I sound old? That's what I'm going for? Have we gotten to that point?
Just stirring the pot.
Now you can do your old jokes.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
You can do your old jokes.
I was thinking of another since I already talked about Fridays and Saturday nights and being on my own. And when I was much younger, we used to get a babysitter, and I remember my babysitter watching the Beverly Hills 90210 episode where Rebecca Gayheart gets shot by her boyfriend's dad because they think it's Dylan or Brandon. I can't remember which one. And I remember my babysitter sitting down on the couch, sobbing, crying. And my sister and I snuck out and we're looking down the steps and watched that moment unfold as he's holding her and she's laying there on the pavement. And I don't know if that was a cliffhanger. It was just like a really awful finale. Heartbreaking.
It was. I wasn't allowed to watch Beverly Hills as a kid, but I watched it later in life. And I do remember that. And it was very sad. It was like in the alley, like outside of something, right? Like next to a car.
Yeah. They were driving, and it was, I think they had maybe just gotten married, and her dad was in the mob, and he didn't approve of the relationship. Yeah. Just
way to bring it down.
Classic 902. Classic.
Classic. It's the way love goes. Before we head out for the week, what do I have to? You want to check out, more finales and all that? Just say what to watch. Go see some shows. Cruel Summer, Simpsons. Say the title of these shows, and check them out. And before we head out for the week, as always, we are here to help you plan ahead. This week's premieres include a wild dating series, a Disney throwback, and stop-motion animation. And Gordon is here to tell us all about it. Take it away, Gordon.
All right, batting first, the second half of Season 2 of Tyler Perry's presidential drama, The Oval, is back on BET tonight. And the big question on my mind is, will Barry ever find his daughter? Hopefully we will finally find out. Next up, where to even start with this one? Sexy Beasts makes its premiere on Netflix on Wednesday. It's a dating show where the contestants wear elaborate costumes so they can get to know the person behind the crazy getup. I really hope this doesn't awaken something in me, to be honest. Anywho, that's going to kick off tomorrow. Also that same night, Married at First Sight returns on Lifetime for its 42nd season. We've got 10 new fiancés who only have 14 days to prepare to meet the new love of their life. Are we going too far with this? I gotta ask, these dating shows, I'm just picturing some kid asking daddy how he met mommy, and him having to be like, well, she was wearing a koala mask. Anywho, Married at First Sight and Sexy Beasts are premiering tomorrow on Lifetime and Netflix, respectively. Now, not to get lost in the romantic shuffle, Turner and Hooch, the series, is starting up on Disney Plus on Wednesday as well. In this fun-filled reimagining of the classic Tom Hanks 80s film, a detective teams up with a big old dog to solve crimes. Or, I don't know, maybe the big old dog is actually a lady in a dog costume. I don't even know. Sexy Beast has me on edge, I gotta be honest. Next up, Thursday night, we get the first of a 4-part miniseries from the Sesame Workshop called Through Our Eyes. Now, this is actually really fascinating. It's a look at some serious issues such as parental incarceration, military caregiving, climate displacement, and homelessness, all through the eyes of children. It's really, really powerful. I'm honestly super looking forward to this. That's Through Our Eyes, and you can catch that on HBO Max. And finally, Ultra City Smiths is coming to AMC Plus on July 22nd. What is Ultra City Smiths, you may ask? Well, relax, it's literally my job to tell you. It's a stop-motion animation film noir whodunit made with baby dolls. Baby dolls. Why am I getting all the weird ones this week? Anywho, there's some big names in the voice cast, including Kristen Bell, John C. Reilly, Bebe Neuwirth, Deborah Winger, and just for you, Audrey, Mr. Dax Shepard. Again, that's Ultra City Smiths. It's coming to AMC Plus on July 22nd, and those are your premieres.
Now, Audrey, I know Dax Shepard gives you the feels. Is it a little off-putting to see him as the voice of a baby doll?
It's a little creepy. Yeah, I'm going to just erase the last, 15 seconds from my memory. Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Sorry.
No, but it looks
about
awesome.
That show.
Yeah, it looks really different and cool.
Yeah, it's got Team America, World Police vibes to it, but it's a comedy, but also a true crime series. So I'm into that. And also really looking forward to Turner and Hooch. Obviously Disney always has a way of tugging on heartstrings. And I remember Turner and Hooch just being devastated when I believe Hooch got shot in that.
Spoiler!
Just as I did. If you haven't seen it by now, an animal, something terrible happens to a humanoid animal in literally every Disney movie. But same as Homeward Bound was so sad when Shadow was there on the banks of the stream.
So any animal, I will take a person gets shot. I'm like, oh yeah, that's sad. A dog gets injured. No, forget it. I can't take animal death in any way.
Yeah,
that's an Independence Day. In Independence Day, they blow up New York, and billions of people die, and then the dog is safe, and you're like, okay, good.
Thank God.
Okay. Thank goodness, the city's gone, but the dog made it.
Gordon, I thought you were going to point out how many animals probably died in the explosion of New York. That's where I thought you were going with this. I'm like, boy, that's...
Now... I wasn't thinking
now I
about
did.
that.
Now I just did it.
No. All right, moving on.
Let's move on. With every premiere, there... Oh, I'm changing my Emmy snub to Gordon.
Yeah. Look, there's that Homelander smile.
There it is.
Is this how a human smiles?
All right. With every premiere, there must be a finale, and Kayla's going to give us the rundown of this week's farewells. Kayla?
A&E's An Animal Saved My Life highlights courageous animals who risk it all for civilians. The series features stories ripped from the headlines, viral videos, surveillance footage, and interviews with people who have been saved by these fearless furry heroes. These unbelievable rescues will certainly get your adrenaline pumping. An Animal Saved My Life finale July 20th on A&E. The CW's new action-adventure series Kung Fu has been keeping everyone on the edge of their seats, including me. The series centers around a first-generation Chinese-American Nikki Shen, who has to repeatedly use her martial arts skills to protect her family and community from ongoing crime and corruption, all while trying to stop a deadly assassin with a catastrophic plan. Using her gift and clues from her ancient Chinese ancestry, she has to do the unthinkable and save everyone from destruction before it's too late. Kung Fu finale July 21st on the CW. You've never seen a baking competition show quite like this one. In Fox's Crime Scene Kitchen, each episode begins at the scene of a crime, a messy kitchen that was just used to make a mystery dessert. The chef teams of 2 have 3 minutes to scour the crime kitchen for clues and ingredients to figure out what was baked and must duplicate the recipe based on their guess. The $100,000 cash prize is up for grabs for the winning team. It all comes down to whoever can crack the code and solve the crime. Crime Scene Kitchen finale July 21st on Fox. How far would you go to make ends meet? Well, these unsuspecting suburban moms have set the bar. When 2 sisters and their BFF get fed up with playing by the rules, they decide to take matters into their own hands and rob a grocery store. From there, everything spirals out of control, and they get pulled in deeper than they ever imagined into the world of crime. Christina Hendricks, Mae Whitman, and stand-up comedian Retta star in this hilarious crime comedy. Check it out. Good Girls finale July 22nd on NBC. This riveting dark comedy follows the journey of Allison McRoberts, a stereotypically smart and beautiful sitcom wife who is struggling to redefine her life amid an unhappy marriage to husband Kevin, who is an insensitive, indolent man-child who only cares about himself. After making a dark discovery, Allison attempts to escape the confines of her monotonous life and finally take control of her fate. I'm getting revenge vibes, and I'm here for it. Kevin Can F Himself finale July 25th on AMC+. An expansion of the hit podcast and best-selling book, Catch and Kill the Podcast Tapes brings to life the intimate interviews that broke Hollywood's most infamous story. This 6-part documentary series highlights Ronan Farrow's intimate, revealing interviews with whistleblowers, journalists, and private investigators. The series expands on the podcast and book with never-before-seen footage and new insights into this culture-shaking story. Catch and Kill the Podcast Tapes finale July 26 on HBO Max.
And lastly, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that the Tokyo Olympics kick off this Friday, July 23rd, with the opening ceremony. The Olympics hug. Oh, the Olympics hug. It's not even a Rose show. The Olympics Hub on X1 will feature more than 7,000 hours of live Olympics and Team USA coverage, including replays, highlights, and interviews. You can also enjoy Olympics coverage on Flex with Peacock, including 6 channels dedicated to all things Team USA and the Olympics. Excuse me. Just say Olympics into your voice remote to join the action. Audrey, if you were going to compete in the Olympics, what Olympic sport would you compete in?
It's funny you asked that question, David. So I think we would like to show a picture just to put into frame what an athlete I am. So this is 10-year-old Audrey on the cover of Sports Illustrated, totally legit. Playing softball. I played softball my whole life. So contrary to popular belief, I can be athletic. But if I were to play an Olympic sport, I think I would pick skateboarding, which is new to the Tokyo Olympics this year. And we mentioned that I am like a 90s grunge kid at heart. So I did hang out with all the skateboarders in 8th grade. And I had this pair of Airwalks that were my favorite sneakers of all time. They were skateboarding shoes. And they were turquoise and purple and yellow, and they were amazing. And since skateboarding is new to the Olympics this year for Tokyo, there's no competition, right? Like I was always the kid in school, like I would answer first so that like I couldn't be compared to anybody else, like my answer. So if I did skateboarding first, like I would be good for like a little while until someone else came along and beat me. So that's my justification.
Audrey, you look like new girl, or not new girl, my girl. You look like my girl in this photo.
Beta Sultan Fuss?
Yes.
How was a 10-year-old on the cover of Sports Illustrated? I never heard about it until today.
I was very talented.
She was Rookie of the Year, apparently.
Rookie of the Year, yeah.
Yeah. Kayla, if you were competing in the Olympics, what sport would it be? And let's get a look at your childhood sports photo as well.
Yes. Okay. So the photo you'll see is of me in a swimming pool because I'm a literal dolphin, guys. I've always loved the water. My mom always tells a story about how I couldn't have been more than 5 years old, and they took me and my brother to a pool, and I jumped into the deep end and scared her half to death. I was like, yes, and I just jumped in. I was like Moana, basically. It was just calling me, So I jumped in. She was like, "That's it. We're getting this girl lessons because she's gonna drown if we don't." So that's where my love for swimming took off, diving and swimming and just flipping and all that fun stuff. So I think I'd be right next to Simone Manuel, just living it up in Tokyo.
Nice. I'll go next with my sport that I would do in my picture. I think I would compete in There's me as the mascot of my high school. That was really the highlight of my athletic competition. Top right corner, that's me as a freshman. Bottom right corner is me as a senior. Had a real growth spurt and fixed my terrible center part hair from that first photo.
Hey.
But it didn't. It looks good on you, not on me, man.
That was okay. I'm dying.
Gordon, it works for you now, not me.
I'm old. I got center cut hair.
Oh Lord. Oh. I mean, how do I even come back from that?
No,
you know I didn't mean you.
You can't.
You don't.
Let me make fun of myself now. I think that the sport I would compete in is rhythmic gymnastics, aka that thing where athletes dance around with a ribbon on a stick. And that is not to say that I think that sport is easy. Like, clearly it's not, or everyone would do it. I just think it's the best option for my weak and doughy body to have to not have any contact with any other athlete or anything that could potentially hurt me. You're out there alone. You're doing your thing. And as a former mascot, I think that I have music, I have rhythm, I have a third thing. Who could ask for anything more? There you go, Gordon. I worked in a musical reference.
Mm-hmm. Oh, then we're cool. Then we're totally
we're
cool.
good now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wait till after the show.
Let's move on to the best head of hair on this entire
You've been to my home. I've got some pizza. Sat on my couch.
Let it go. Let it go.
Man.
Gordon, tell us about the sport you'd compete in.
Okay, so because I'm the youngest child, no pictures exist of me as a child. So I went with a picture of me from my early 20s back in my wrestling days. And that's not the real wrestling you see in high school, college. It's the predetermined wrestling you see in VFW halls. In this instance, that is the Hurricane Kid teaming up with, I believe, someone named Kale, which is a very bizarre wrestling name, squaring off against the Love Connection made up of Sweet Daddy J Love and Sweet Georgie Love. If you look right now, Sweet Georgie Love is locked in my devastating submission hold known as the Rocking Horse. I'm guessing that picture might have been Hazleton, Pennsylvania in the mid-90s at some point. So I wouldn't say I would do actual wrestling as my Olympic sport because that is exhausting. I might go, I was thinking about, I know there was talk that breakdancing might eventually be an Olympic sport, and I do a really good backspin. But what I came up with was curling, because I think that's the sport you're allowed to drink beer when you play. So if you don't know curling, that's the one where you slide the rocks along the ice and then you broom it really quick. So that would be me with a broom and a beer, bringing home the gold for the good old US of A with my middle parted hair.
Oh man, not gonna let it go.
Do it for this week's episode. Special thank you to my fellow editors, Kayla, Audrey, and Gordon for joining me today. If you want to check out the shows we talked about today, get more of our entertainment recommendations, or watch us interview big celebrities, just say what to watch into your voice remote or tune in here every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern for a new episode. My name is David. Thank you for joining us on What to Watch Live.